What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here, so let's have a serious discussion about the Xbox Scorpio. Of course, yesterday Microsoft finally unveiled the final specs for the device, and right now it's really looking like quite a powerful machine. With the improved CPU, GPU, 12GB of RAM, it's really looking to be quite something, and definitely a massive step compared to not only the Xbox One and Xbox One S, but even the PS4 Pro and the PS4 Pro that released last year. This thing is no doubt going to kind of destroy it as far as performance goes, and therefore I think that's quite an awesome thing. You know, it is going to be a much more powerful console, where Microsoft themselves have already indicated that a game like Forza was easily ported to the Xbox Scorpio, ran at 4K 60 frames per second on ultra settings. And yeah, what can you really say about that? It's looking like it's going to be quite an upgrade worth investing into, you know, and I'd say especially like compared to something like the PS4 Pro, which I myself bought for an additional $400, I didn't really find that investment worth it. And I think what's going to be so awesome about the Scorpio is that for the big Xbox fans, the people that have been gaming on the Xbox for, you know, 5, 10, maybe 15 years already at this point, I think, that have built up their friends list, that like the games that Microsoft brings out, and that simply are a fan of the Xbox brand, this is going to be a much more, this is going to prove to be, you know, simply a much bigger or worth it to be investment, if you get what I'm saying. And so I think that's really cool about it. Now, at the same time, you've got a lot of the people in the Xbox camp, of course, saying that this is going to be massively impacting the quote-unquote console war right now, or at least the race for sales that's going on, of course, where the PS4 is currently still destroying the Xbox One S with, you know, 60 million units of the PS4 sold compared to like 30 million Xbox Ones, I think, right now, which is like a 2-to-1 ratio. A lot of the Xbox fans think that this is going to be a massive difference. Now, this is something that I vastly disagree with, and where I'm like, you know, looking at the Xbox Scorpio right now, I feel like it's honestly going to prove to be like little to no difference, and I still think that the PS4 has nothing, Sony has nothing to fear right now from the Xbox Scorpio. And why am I saying that? Well, simply said, look at the people who will be buying an Xbox Scorpio. If you really think about it for a second, who is going to buy the Xbox Scorpio? Well, I can only right now think of one group of people that will, and that's simply the hardcore Xbox fan base. But that group of people is always somewhat like, you know, you don't really have to take them into account because, well, they're always going to be there. You know, that group will always be investing into a new piece of hardware from Xbox, just how PlayStation has its hardcore community, just how the Nintendo does. And even though I said that the Nintendo Switch will not be, in my opinion, very successful, of course in the first few months it always will be, because the Switch right now is still being bought by a lot of the hardcore Nintendo fan base. Of course, that's a small group, and the same counts for Xbox and the same counts for PlayStation compared to all the people that buy consoles in the first place. And this is why, you know, if you look at the 60 million people that bought a PS4 by now, only a small group of that, like maybe 10 to 20 million people, will be that hardcore PlayStation community that I'm talking about. The rest is all more of the like more casual mainstream crowd, I would say, that simply, you know, want to still play games, of course, that buy their Call of Duties and FIFAs every year, and maybe sometimes a different game as well. But yeah, look at simply what, you know, the real like hardcore gamer games sell. Even a franchise like Uncharted, which at the same time is still quite casual, only sells 8 million copies, whereas there are 60 million PS4 sold. You get what I'm saying? So like a big group of these people that buy consoles right now are simply not the type of people who really care for a much more powerful machine like the Scorpio, and therefore it's not going to turn the race around or something like that. And at the same time, you know, a lot of the people that want the optimal experience, that want the best power, the frame rates that will always be in the 60s or above, the resolution that will be at 4K because they like, you know, simply the optimal setup, those people play on PC anyway. The PC is the platform where you can invest as much as you want into it and get the ultimate experience for all the third-party games and the games that come out exclusively on the PC, of course. So, you know, that group of people, once again, like, they will play on the PC. I don't necessarily think that all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of people jumping ship from PS4 because they want the ultimate graphical experience. Like, if you wanted that in the first place, you would have bought a PC already. The Scorpio does nothing that the PC doesn't really do right now. Of course, you're gonna have your exceptions. You always will. And, you know, I had a couple of people, like 1 or 2, tell me on Twitter that, well, Robin, I'm just not a fan of the PC, so I'm definitely thinking about buying a Scorpio because, yeah, I want that optimal experience. experience, but only on a console. You do have those people, just like you have the people that will be buying a Nintendo Switch that are not the die-hard, hardcore Nintendo fanbase. For example, I am one of those myself, you know, and even me myself, if I look at it right now, I could possibly still buy a Scorpio because I do like simply playing on consoles, and I would honestly want to have them all. And yeah, I mean, in that way, like, it's possible for me to even still buy a Scorpio myself. I simply think that those exceptions, though, are such a big, like, it really is the minority, right? This is in no way going to change the entire, yeah, sales race, the console war that's going on right now. I still feel like PS4 is simply going to keep on dominating the way it has been for the last 3 years. Nothing is going to really change about that. The biggest problem Microsoft really has right now is the games. And with the Scorpio, they are simply not looking to do anything to really correct that right now, because you know, like, this is the thing as well. Microsoft really has two problems in terms of the games that are quite massive at the moment. The first one is that they simply don't have that many games currently that are coming out, especially when you compare that to the PS4, where such a massive lineup has been announced. Death Stranding, God of War, Uncharted The Lost Legacy, The Last of Us Part 2, Spider-Man, Days Gone, Detroit. You can go on and on, literally, with the amount of, you know, PlayStation 4 exclusives that are coming up and that are also looking to be absolutely awesome. And then on the Xbox side, what do you really have right now? You have Forza, of course, which is undoubtedly coming up this year, but that's just another Forza. They have already released 5 of them in the last 5 years, so people that want to play Forza already have bought an Xbox by now, or are playing it on PC. Crackdown, like, I really don't know. I don't feel like that's really a high-profile exclusive. And then they bring up something like Sea of Thieves, but, you know, the exact same story there. Like, Sea of Thieves, I'm sorry. I'm sure there's going to be people that will be enjoying it. It's not a system seller in the slightest, like, literally in the slightest. So that's a big problem with Microsoft, and we're gonna have to kind of wait and see with what, of course, they announce at E3. That's in 2 months from now. Maybe Microsoft will really announce a killer lineup. It's definitely still possible, but at the same time, they don't really have that many first-party studios. And I'm sure that 343 once again is going to be doing a new Halo. So yeah, they've also already come out with a Halo. What can they really do to, you know, like, they really need that new IPs. They need those games that simply will blow gamers away, that they don't expect, that they want to buy an Xbox for. Because for the other existing franchises they have, they would have already bought an Xbox already right now. So, you know, like I said, anything outside of the hardcore Xbox community who will be buying a Scorpio, I just don't see those people right now. I don't see those massive amounts of people that will turn this console war race around. Now, at the same time, you have, of course, the fact that Microsoft games are also coming out on PC. That's what they have pretty much announced in the last 1 or 2 years, so that pretty much every single exclusive they come out with, you can simply play on the PC. That's what I'm looking at myself right now as well. I own a gaming PC, and so even though I would like to search for reasons to buy an Xbox Scorpio, I'm like, well, why am I buying it in the first place? Because my PC right now is already more powerful, and then at the same time, the games I want to play on my Scorpio, I can already play on the PC. You know, Microsoft simply has a lot of issues right now, and I think the biggest issue simply comes down to the games. It has nothing to do with the hardware. It's cool that they're coming out with the most powerful console, and it's going to prove to be really awesome for that diehard, you know, Xbox community, but that's really as far as it goes. And I think that this is honestly going to turn into a very similar story to the PS4 Pro. It's cool that it exists, and it's going to be much better than the PS4 Pro, don't get me wrong, but is it really going to make people jump ship and now all of a sudden start playing on the Xbox Scorpio? I simply don't see it. So with that being said, I would like to know your thoughts, of course, on this whole thing. Are you yourself interested in buying a Scorpio? Do you think you'll end up actually getting one in the fall of this year? What do you think Microsoft is going to announce as far as their games go? And do you think they can really catch up with the dominance of the PS4 at this very moment? So with that being said, yeah, let me know your thoughts. And then for now, leave a quick like to help support my channel. I'd appreciate it. And so I hope to see you again next time.